York's classic rock, Q1043.
Good morning, and I want you to meet two people I am so honored to share a partnership with, because all of us are involved with a group called Friends of Firefighters. Josh Calacanis was an FDNYer, and he is now retired. And Nancy Carbone is the founder of Friends of Firefighters. And I was honored to be asked earlier this year to join the board of directors of Friends of Firefighters. Josh is also on the board. And basically, this is an organization I hadn't heard of, and I was shocked that I hadn't heard of it because I'm so involved in the 9/11 community. But the fact that I didn't know means that we need to spread the word even more so. Friends of Firefighters was formed 20 years ago after September 11th. Nancy will tell the story, but basically it provides free mental health care and wellness care for FDNYers and their families. Now, the FDNY does provide some services as well, but this is anonymous. This means that this takes place in a firehouse, or you can do it virtually. First of all, both of you, welcome. And Nancy, explain how you even came up with this idea. And it's so much more so needed now, 20 years later, than when you first had this idea.
I would love to say I went into it having an idea. I did not. The firefighters had the idea. I volunteered like many people after 9/11. I developed friendships with different firehouses that needed things that were not in the areas where the community could support their local firehouse through the beginning of 9/11, the months following, where the firehouses needed things. The immediate things were bunting and shoes and socks for the site. And as our relationships grew, mine with different firehouses, one firefighter, John Sorrentino, asked me if we could start a counseling service outside of the department because they didn't want it in their houses. At that time, some counselors were going to the firehouses to do counseling, which Josh will tell you is not a formula that's sustainable because the tones go off and the person has to stop there talking, and it was a stopgap measure. So when he asked if I could start a counseling center, I'm not qualified, I'm not a counselor, but I think that I took it as a responsibility because my feeling is that first responders are always there for us, and if they ever ask for help, we need to be there for them on their terms. So really, this was driven by firefighters, and I think prominently Tony Catapano especially. Tony Cat was my mentor, and he's the one that told me where to step, and most importantly, where not to step. And Shelley, the fact that you didn't hear of us was not a mistake. It was not lacking on our part, although I've made mistakes. This one was that it had to stay within the FDNY community. It needed to be private. We did not do any media for many, many years because we didn't want it to be what the firefighters would refer to as a dog and pony show. So the fact that you're hearing about it now means it's the right time for you to hear about it. So, and now we're ready to go public because there's just
and the reason we need to get out the word, not just to the FDNY community and their families, is that Friends of Firefighters is relying on your donations to provide this service, this counseling for FDNYers. Now, Josh and I met on the board of Friends of Firefighters, but I really got to know his story when he opened up to me as part of my 9/11 Stories podcast and YouTube video. And I'm so honored that you did do this. And what I've come to learn, it's not just Josh, it's basically any first responder I've talked to, everyone has survivor guilt. There's at least that. There's at least the PTSD. But basically, Josh, you told me that therapy saved your life.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. And I didn't come to therapy for a very long time. And I certainly didn't do it after 9/11, only being a probie at that time. It wasn't really something that I thought I needed or could do or wanted anybody to know I was going to do. But then I was involved in a tragic fire with Mike Davidson. And just a few months after, I didn't go to therapy. I didn't take any time off from the firehouse. I went right back to work. And shortly thereafter, maybe about 4 months later, 5 months later, I just found myself in the parking lot of the counseling services unit, literally just driving by, and was just something drew me to it. And then I started, and I've been getting healthier ever since. And I definitely think that it changed the course of my life. And I caught myself at that right moment where maybe I was sinking and I didn't realize I needed help, and I got help, and I feel a million times better that I did it. And just coincidentally, Damien Echeverrieta, who lost his father in 1974 in Ladder 109, he's a board member and a very dear friend of mine. And he asked me to come on board of the Friends of Firefighters because I knew how he had gotten active in it. He became a board member a few years ago, and then I had gone to a couple of the galas and stuff like that. And it's just ironic that this happened to me, and then I got myself some help, and then I had an opportunity to actually share my story and maybe add a little bit of what I know and my experience to becoming a board member and helping Friends of Firefighters move forward and helping guys like me. And it's really just an amazing experience on my end. And, I can't thank you enough for what you do, Shelley, and bringing the awareness. And obviously, Nancy, you started this whole thing, and it's just beautiful. It's really amazing. And I'm so happy to be a part of it, really.
What strikes me all the time, Josh, is that the FDNY is the first to go in and help us, and you are the last people to ever ask for help.
Yeah, I mean, there's multiple layers to that. Like we're good at what we do, and we take a lot of pride in what we do. And then sometimes we don't like to show our vulnerability or our weaknesses, and that's just the way it is, And maybe by me getting involved in this, a lot of people know me, just because I worked in Brooklyn, I worked in Harlem, I worked in the South Bronx, I've been around, you know what I mean? People know me from the neighborhood, coming from Brooklyn, maybe if they see me open up and others like me, that are just normal guys doing a job, maybe they'll help themselves. Maybe they'll help themselves to come to Friends of Firefighters, get a little help, you know what I mean? And maybe stay on course, because if, you're breaking down mentally, in my opinion, only my experience I could speak to, when you're breaking down mentally, a lot of other things can fall apart along the way. And if you don't catch that, you could be in some trouble, and, you're not going to live the best life that you should be living,
Nancy Carbone, as I said, is one of the founders of Friends of Firefighters. She really is the founder of this wonderful organization providing free mental health help for FDNYers and their families. You have a special program heading into our 20-year commemoration of 9/11.
Yeah, we've expanded our services because the need is so great. And what's interesting, in the past year, since the beginning of COVID, we hired 3 more counselors, and I can project we're going to need even more. So the firefighters and their families are using our services. And in addition to counseling, we have peers like Josh that are at the firehouse ready for anybody who might drop in. And we're doing this thing called the 20-minute tune-up. And I like that because I love cars. So a 20-minute tune-up. But what it is about that is there's no commitment for a firefighter that's having a hard time to just come in and sit down with a brother or sister, somebody who knows exactly what they're going through, and have a cup of coffee and just talk. And it doesn't have to be about any of the issues necessarily that are deeply affecting them and their lives, but it's a way for them to get their foot in the door and check the place out and see, if it's something they're comfortable with. And the fact that we're in an old firehouse, I think, is a comfortable factor for a lot of firefighters that come in and, oh, I'm home. And that it's normalized. The idea of asking for help is normalized within our walls. And then we depend on the firefighters to go out and inform the others, because I think that that's the best stamp of approval. But we have different, we have acupuncture, heart math, breathing practice. We do disaster relief, but of course, we're hoping that that's going to be on a shelf for a very long time. We have had a monthly breakfast that was started by Tony Cat many years ago. And And for the duration of, I think it started August 14th, it'll go through all the way through September to October. We're going to do weekly breakfasts, so everyone is welcome to that. And then we're also going to do weekly kitchen talks where we have a speaker come in and the firefighters make dinner. And it's another way to bring them in to demystify what it is that we do.
How do people find you if they need the help or if they just want to donate and help?
Well, our website is friendsofirefighters.org. We are on social media. I'm a bit of a Luddite. I think I've missed it by 10 years of being quick with the computer stuff. So my thing is probably going right to the website. That would be the best way. We're working on other things. We did just get the code, which I'm not familiar with yet. And I apologize. I'm a little undereducated in that. But if you go to our website, it is the best and easiest way to get information and to make a donation.
Josh, do you think that most in the FDNY are aware of Friends of Firefighters now, 20 years later?
I would say yes. I would say yes, definitely. That it wasn't really as popular in the beginning, obviously, and I wasn't really paying much attention being so new on the job. But as I got older through the job and, you know, been around a little bit more, yes, it was definitely becoming more and more popular. And now we do need to do some more outreach, but the department definitely knows about Friends of Firefighters. Absolutely.
You know, it was really interesting in talking to FDNYers who were there on September 11th. They tell me, first of all, that the FDNY screening process is almost scarring in and of itself, trying to do the right thing. But the questions that are asked are like, yeah, they're going to put you in a very, very bad place. And then there are others who would tell me, yes, I went through the motions of therapy. But again, if you're getting the therapy from those who know from where you came, makes all the difference.
100%, 100%. And that's why it's important to jump in, like me, being a retired guy with the outreach program and just being a face. I wouldn't say the face of the franchise, but, you know, a face that people know when they walk in the door and they come for the breakfast, you know, and exactly what Nancy said, just to feel comfortable. Every time I'm in the firehouse, the Friends of Firefighters on Grand Brunt, I just feel happy. Number one, it's in Brooklyn, my hometown, which is always good. And then just the love and the warmth and the fact that you're in the firehouse and you're in a firehouse kitchen, you just feel really, really good and really happy and really comfortable and able to share. And every time that I've been there at every breakfast, I've talked to an old timer. I've talked to an old friend that I was friends with from the old neighborhood. We both went through something on 9/11. We both went through things after that. And we just connected and we talked and we realized that, wow, we're in a good place right now. You know what I'm saying? After being through some stuff, you know, that might've been a little tough.
Nancy, we only have about 2 minutes left, and there are so many activities that people can participate in and support Friends of Firefighters heading into September 11th. So take it away with Kevin Smith and Steve Buscemi.
Oh my gosh. Well, Kevin Smith and Steve Buscemi are going to do a show in the theater in New Jersey, in Leonard, New Jersey. And I think that's going to be
Leonardo.
greatest. I'm sorry, Leonardo. I missed the O.
She's not from Jersey. Give her a pass. Come on. Go on.
But I've been there. And I should have known this one. So he has Kevin has a theater in Leonardo, New Jersey, and he will be doing a show with Steve Buscemi, which would be a small audience the night of, but it's also going to be televised. Not televised. What do you call it? It's going to be online. Through I think it's YouTube, but the information will be on our website. It will be on our Facebook. It will be in our social media, the Instagram and everything. All the information will be there. I wanted to add just one thing. It's very important. Our supporters are the reason we can keep going the way we do, and the fact that we take the money out of the equation so that the firefighter really has no challenges, no barriers to getting help, whether it costs money or there's a paper trail or whatever. So I want to give a shout out if I can, because they're really important to us. The First Responders Children's Foundation have been amazing with supporting us, as has Gary Sinise and of course, Steve Buscemi and Kevin Smith. And Shelley, I want to thank you because you've been wonderful in introducing us to others who feel the same way as we do. that when our first responders ask for help, it has to be there on their terms.
That's right. And again, if you are listening now, we need your donations. And if you happen to work for a corporation, we want to work with you. We need your help in order to help those that we rely on when we need help. Friends of Firefighters, I am so honored to be a member of their board. Thank you so much, Nancy Carbone and Josh Calacanis. Thank you a million times for everything you have done for us over the years. And coming up next, we're going to revisit with a Q104.3 friend over the years, Jay Winnick. He lost his Actually, he was a volunteer firefighter on Long Island, but he ended up being a lawyer in the Wall Street area. But he lost his life on September 11th because he put on his firefighter hat and he marched into the World Trade Center to help evacuate. And as a result, that's why we have 9/11 Day of Service. And Jay will come on and talk about all the activities coming up this year. Q104.3.
New York's classic rock, Q1043.